Hello and welcome to News Center. I'm Parikshit Luthra. An American cybersecurity company, RESecurity, has raised a red flag over details of 81.5 crore Indians with the ICMR being allegedly sold on the dark web. Sources have said that the government may ask the CBI to probe the matter now. Once ICMR files complaint, that is. A threat actor with the handle on X, formerly Twitter, had advertised the database in the breached forum on the dark web. The database contains records of 81.5 million Indian citizens, Aadhaar and passport information along with names, phone numbers, addresses as well. The threat actor claimed the data, which was extracted from the COVID-19 test details of citizens, was sourced from the ICMR. According to sources, CERT has informed the ICMR about the breach. Remember, ICMR had said that its website was attacked in December, but it was unsuccessful. Furthermore, on the 12th of June, the government also denied reports of a data breach of the CoWIN portal, saying that it has adequate security measures in place. To take this discussion forward, we have with us Yoo, Chief Executive Officer of RESecurity, Gulshan Rai, former National Cybersecurity Coordinator, Apar Gupta, founding partner for Internet Freedom Foundation. Yoo, if I could begin with you, give us a sense of when this data breach might have actually taken place, and do we know the origin and location of this threat actor?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for allowing us to join in. As most of the information that's related to when it happened is actually on the website as well. But as you could see, this is a thing that we continuously monitor as many governments are going to this whole e-digitization as well as e-government. More and more the need for identity protection becomes apparent across globally, and we're seeing more and more across every geo where a lot of governments are moving toward this thing. And of course, at the speed of how it's going, it's also creating this kind of this compression where the need for protecting these kind of digital information services are going to be critical.
Right. Let me also get in Gulshan Rai at this stage. Mr. Rai, how serious, what kind of a breach is this? How serious is this entire episode where the data of 81.5 crore Indians, their details of their parents, their addresses, their PIN code, their age, everything is there online on the dark web, all available to be sold?
It's a very, very serious incident. This incident, the hacker must have been inside the system for quite a few months now. They would have seen the data, they would have examined the process which they are following it, and they have breached the data when all examination of the data is over. My hunch is, or my guess is, and I'm pretty sure about it, that the ICMR systems and the cyber infrastructure is totally breached there. I wonder how the data is not encrypted using a ransomware, but anyway, the data is stolen, data has been taken. It's a very, very serious incident which has happened to the ICMR.
Right. Apar Gupta, this website, RESecurity, says that it was possibly a KYC provider, a KYC service provider who was breached. What are some of the loopholes in the ICMR, the Indian government system, which may have been exploited by the hackers?
So, Parikshit, I can't speak to it with a very high degree of technical certainty, but what has come through repeatedly with breaches of personal information of Indian citizens which are hosted on any kind of public website, there are two basic deficiencies which have been noticed from the breaches we've occurred. The first is the technical implementation, if it's stored with respect to a server, etc. There are very basic deficiencies in implementing security practices, such as securing a AWS bucket. The second is more longer supply chain attack in which the technical architecture is built in such a way in which there are third-party providers which interact with the government service, and then the user data leaks at the point of the third-party service provider. And we also saw this happen a few months ago with respect to data in which a Telegram bot was providing the vaccination details of any person who had utilized the COVID platform. All of this, in my mind, shows there's a deficiency of policy and practices. For instance, I've stated it at several such events that there needs to be a national cybersecurity policy, which has not been made for close to a decade now.
Right. Ginny, coming back to you, where is India in the global threat landscape? You have been surveying different geographies. How big is this data breach compared to episodes that you've alerted governments, your clients about in the past?
Well, I think in the scheme of things, I mean, the population difference between many countries is going to be a factor. You know, I think that given the size of your country, the complexity, and also a lot of the modernization and the digitization that happens in India, I think, and of course, India being like the epicenter of, providing many of the outsourcing services and then a lot of the AI technologies, everything coming out, more and more we feel that I think as many countries such as India are advancing in technologies and modernizing everything that they have, it's going to just create a kind of the, implosion effect. The trick of this is, and I think the other subject matter experts here on the call has noted, there are so many elements to how we are as a country, as a technology company, continuously advancing the need for digitization, right? And the problem is, part of that is like, the simple hygienic stuff, like, are we doing the data encryption at rest and in motion? And also for all of these kind of advancement and innovation we're doing in technology, what are the security controls in place or being implemented to ensure that as the technology infrastructure grows, that we're also taking into account how we need to support that environment, right? Because it's a process. It's a life cycle where we're adding on new things, and we need to make sure that we have enough time, resource, and money to support those endeavors, not just from technology, but also people behind it. From a threat landscape perspective, now you got this bucket that has never been seen before. So it's this bloom of information that's going to be used for various targeting, tech count takeovers. It can be that you could do so many things with this data. It's going to be a treasure trove for a lot of the adversaries to do something interesting with.
Right. Can you give us a sense, because your website mentions other data breaches also which may have taken place in the last 1 year. Do you know the kind of people, the kind of agencies who are looking to buy this data online?
I can't comment on any agency that wanted to buy, but I could definitely say, the data breaches, unreported breaches happen all the time, and let's just all be realistic. And it's going to continue to go on because part of it is also reputation, brand management, and of course, when you have a third party to come in and getting like legal attorneys and what have you, a lot of this stuff gets kind of hidden behind it. And that's the reality of the problem. What you see in the dark web is secondary, tertiary market, meaning that all of this data has been sold many times over and used and being used for various opportunistic targeting or tailored targeting by, who knows, right? I'm not going to tell you like it's some nation state or APT. The reality is that I know we love talking about sophisticated actors and how they're breaching everything, but the reality is that opportunity for any adversarial level can basically see our environment with the porousness, mainly because, I mean, think about it. We're constantly patching every month. We're always, doing upgrades. So there's a moment in time when you're going to see a gap or, technology that's antiquated or end of life softwares. So in the scheme of things, this is just always going to happen, and it is what we call the infinity game of it's not about winning or losing. It's just being always prepared what to do with it. But this event is preventable.
Always upgrading your
systems. These are things that I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll come back to you. Let me get in the former cybersecurity coordinator, Gulshan Rai. Mr. Rai, I'd also like to ask you about what's happened with 8 or 10 MPs, some journalists also in the country. All of these people had Apple phones and they got an alert saying there could be state-sponsored attackers targeting your phones. Your phone may be remotely compromised, and this may be because of what you are, what you do, and what you represent. How serious an advisory or a threat alert is this? Apple saying they did not deny it. They acknowledge that, yes, these alerts have gone to at least people in 150 countries. What do you make of this threat alert?
No, this threat alert is a very genuine kind of thing, and I'm not surprised on the threat alert which has been issued. The state-sponsored guys are hacking and tracking the phones and information from the political people there. And particularly when you look at it, we are in the election period. State elections are around the corner, 1 month down the line. So such kind of things are happening worldwide. One cannot say they are from which country, because every state is indulging in this kind of activity. No exception to any one of them there. So this is a thing, and I think it's a responsibility of ours that we keep our phones secure, and we follow the process, and we download and we take some of the corrective steps. Don't download unnecessary kind of app there. That's what necessary. But such activity with the onset of the emerging technology, particularly AI, generative AI, this thing will increase, and we should be very, very careful. We should not be surprised about it.
All right, let me go to Apar. Apar, the Internet Freedom Foundation, which you represent, has also put out a detailed statement. How do you see the response of the Indian government? The minister, Ashwini Vaishnav, did a press conference a short while back saying that they will investigate this. They've also asked Apple to join the investigation. How do you see their response?
So I think the first thing which needs to be considered is that there's a certainty on two aspects of the threat notification which is given by Apple. The first is that Apple has confirmed that there has actually been a security incident, and its notification is correct in that aspect. The second is it has indicated, again through repetition, that the security incident which has taken place and it has notified people is with respect to a state-level attacker. Its statement does, at the same point in time, mention that this may be incorrect. That is because this is subject to further technical scrutiny. However, it has not sent this technical notification out to a large number of people. It has gone out to people who are really important. It needs to be seen in the wider perspective of our recent experience in the years of 2019 and in the years of 2021, where NSO Groups, which was an Israeli firm, sold the spyware Pegasus, which was used by several governments, and there was the Pegasus project, which revealed that several politicians, which happened to be from the opposition, but also from the government, also journalists, human rights defenders, and activists were targeted in India. This led to a Supreme Court case, and the Supreme Court set up a committee. Its report is with the Supreme Court, and the case is still pending. But what I'm saying is that this has occurred before. And secondly, Apple's notification by itself, it's standing behind that. In this respect, I think rather than focusing on asking Apple to join this investigation, what is important is to look at whether the government itself has indeed purchased it as a state-level procurement, or any other state is interfering in the conduct of democratic processes in India, given that these are members of parliament. And here the participation of members of the government, particularly the cabinet secretariat, which has an intelligence wing, under which the National Security Council comes, needs to be summoned, needs to actually answer whether India procures malware technologies, what are the safeguards we use in deployment, and whether it's been used in this instance. Because any kind of such technology is actually an act of hacking. It's potentially illegal. I argue it's illegal. It's hacking. It can't even be done by the government. But even for those who say that it can be done by the government, it has to satisfy two twin tests under the Telegraph Act, which is that it needs to be for public order or for in the interest of security of the state. And given the profile of the people who have gotten these notifications from Apple, these answers need to be given through the cabinet secretariat primarily, rather than through Apple or the people itself who have received these notifications.
Right. Let me just go back to Jeannie Yoo, the CEO of RESecurity. Jeannie Yoo, have you come across a lot of cases in the recent past of Apple phones being compromised? Apple has acknowledged sending 150 alerts or alerts to 150 or people in 150 countries. What do you make of this? How serious is this? Are you increasingly seeing Apple phones being compromised by state actors?
I think any device becomes a target. I want to be very careful about when we keep talking about state actors, adversaries, nation state. I mean, what we're talking about is like, seriousness of like Ministry of Defense individuals, basically, that is sponsoring these activities. But reality is that I think we as citizens of the internet in this modern age, we laid out so much of our personal data, trusting in systems, the social media, and the amount of data being harvested. I mean, not forget about it, but we have a breach. But just imagine that and multiply by the social media, the advertising data, all the data that can be acquired, not just by a government agency, but also by any individual marketing company for various nefarious things. And the need for protecting identity, right? And at the scale of the global economy, the social media, or data harvesting, I mean, our identity protection becomes like the surmountable, like this mammoth object that we need to overcome because, like everyone said here, at the end of the day, like we need to do a better job in protecting ourselves and be more aware and acknowledgeable. But going back to your original question.
All right, we've run out of time.
It's not just your mobile device, it's your IoT device, it's your TV, everything is smart this and smart that. And those are, opportunity for targeting, not really just Apple.
Okay. We've run out of time, Ginny. I'll have to leave it there, but I'd like to thank you, Mr. Gulshan Rai and Apar Gupta for joining us. We're taking a break, but don't go anywhere. When we return, we will be joined by Priyanka Chaturvedi, Member of Parliament of the Rajya Sabha, who has also been targeted. And she will be talking to us about her experience. She's also sent a complaint to the Prime Minister's office and the Home Minister. We'll be talking to her in just a bit.